Chapter 5. John stood upon the parapet of his castle, gazing out over the nearly completed east wall. From this vantage point, he could see the sprawling expanse of his domain stretching out before him, the towns and villages nestled within its embrace. The people of the moat and surrounding settlements now found themselves shielded by the formidable barrier that had risen under John's watchful eye. As the first batch of recruits progressed through their training, they transitioned from novices to seasoned warriors under the tutelage of the older guard. Together, they embarked on patrols along the roads and pathways that crisscrossed the land, honing their skills in the crucible of real-life experience. The presence of the guard, bolstered by the newfound strength of the recruits, proved to be a formidable deterrent against the scourge of banditry that had plagued the region. The once pervasive threat dwindled to a mere shadow of its former self as the bodies of fallen bandits littered the dense woods that bordered John's lands. Each encounter served as a harsh reminder of the dangers that lurked beyond the safety of the castle walls, but also as a testament to the resolve and valor of those who stood in defense of their homes. From his perch atop the battlements, John felt a swell of pride at the sight of his people united in purpose, their collective efforts paving the way for a brighter, more secure future. With the crafters having produced a significant number of fishing vessels, a new era dawned for the coastal towns and villages within John's domain. These sturdy vessels, capable of braving the tumultuous waters of the sea, were distributed among the local fishermen under a carefully crafted agreement. In exchange for the use of the boats, the fishermen agreed to contribute a portion of their catch 20% to a designated collector stationed in each village or town. This arrangement proved to be mutually beneficial. The fishermen gained access to modern, efficient vessels that greatly expanded their capacity to harvest the bounty of the sea. Meanwhile, the collectors ensured that a steady supply of fresh fish flowed into the coastal settlements, where it was eagerly welcomed by the inhabitants. As the fishing industry flourished, the coastal towns and villages grew in importance within the Greystock lands. No longer mere outposts on the periphery, they became vibrant hubs of activity, bustling with the comings and goings of fishermen and traders. The bounty of the sea not only sustained the local populace but also provided a valuable source of income through trade with neighboring regions. Coburn's unexpected arrival in Deepwood Motte stirred both curiosity and unease among John and Roderick. The former maester's reputation preceded him, his name whispered in hushed tones by those who had heard of his controversial past. Despite the shadows that lingered over Coburn's history, there was an undeniable air of intrigue surrounding him. His reputation as a skilled healer, tempered by his reputation for unorthodox methods, piqued John's interest. If Coburn truly possessed the knowledge to combat the harsh colds of the north, it could prove invaluable to the people under John's care. However, Roderick remained wary, his mistrust of Coburn's methods evident in the furrow of his brow and the set of his jaw. The former Castellan had seen firsthand the consequences of unchecked ambition, and he was not about to let history repeat itself under John's rule. As John and Roderick convened with Coburn in the castle's study, the atmosphere was tense with anticipation. John's gaze was steady as he regarded the former maester, his eyes searching for signs of sincerity beneath the veneer of confidence. Coburn, for his part, exuded an aura of quiet authority, his demeanor calm and composed despite the weight of his reputation. He spoke of his journey through the north, of the hardships he had witnessed and the knowledge he had gleaned along the way. With each word, John found himself drawn further into Coburn's orbit, his skepticism giving way to a cautious optimism. If Coburn's claims held true, he could be the key to unlocking a new era of prosperity for Deepwood Motte and its people. But as the conversation stretched on, lingering doubts gnawed at the edges of John's mind. Could he trust Coburn, despite his checkered past? And if so, what price would they pay for his knowledge and expertise? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the castle's walls, John knew that the answers to these questions would shape the course of his reign. After the craftsmen how build fishing ships were done, John thought of a way to give the work. John, Roderick, and Coburn reconvened, their minds ablaze with ideas to maximize the potential of the skilled craftsmen who had honed their craft in boat building. With their collective expertise and vision, they set about devising a plan to construct versatile vessels that could serve multiple purposes: trading, warfare, and fishing, all rolled into one. After much deliberation and collaboration, they arrived at a groundbreaking solution: the creation of longships, drawing upon Coburn's knowledge and expertise in naval architecture. These vessels, with their sleek design and shallow draft, proved to be the perfect synthesis of form and function. They were not only swift and agile, ideal for trading and raiding along the coastal waters, but also sturdy and spacious enough to accommodate fishing expeditions and even naval warfare. The longships represented a fusion of innovation and tradition, embodying the spirit of adaptability that had come to define the Greystock lands under John's leadership. With their ability to navigate shallow waters and carry up to 35 men each, they opened up new possibilities for exploration, trade, and defense, securing the prosperity and security of the realm for generations to come. As the first of these multi-purpose vessels took shape in the shipyards, excitement rippled through the coastal communities. The craftsmen poured their skill and dedication into every plank and sail, imbuing each vessel with a sense of purpose and destiny. And as the longships set sail upon the sparkling waters of the sea, they carried with them the hopes and dreams of a people united in their pursuit of a brighter future. With the green light from his father to utilize wood from the godswood for the construction of the longships, John wasted no time in setting the wheels in motion. However, as the building commenced, they encountered a slew of challenges and setbacks that threatened to derail their progress. At first, there were issues with the quality of materials sourced from the godswood. The ancient trees yielded lumber that was stubborn and difficult to work with, leading to delays and frustration among the craftsmen. Additionally, unforeseen complications arose during the construction process, from structural flaws to logistical hurdles that strained their resources and tested their resolve. Despite these obstacles, John remained undeterred, rallying his men to redouble their efforts and press on in the face of adversity. With each setback, they adapted and improvised, finding creative solutions to overcome the challenges that stood in their way. However, the strain on their resources began to take its toll. The expenses of the construction project mounted, draining the coffers of Deepwood Mott at an alarming rate. With every gold dragon spent, the spectre of financial ruin loomed ever larger, casting a shadow over their endeavors. Nevertheless, John refused to abandon hope. With the support of his loyal advisors and the unwavering dedication of his people, he pressed forward, determined to see the project through to its completion. For John knew that the longships represented more than just vessels of wood and iron. They were symbols of resilience and determination, testaments to the indomitable spirit of the North. The new fleet promised to herald a new era for the North, offering expanded trade routes and increased protection against potential invaders. However, as the fleet took shape, a pressing issue emerged: the shortage of iron. With a burgeoning force of 300 recruits, the demand for weapons quickly outstripped the available supply. To address this challenge, John and his advisors devised a resourceful solution. They scoured their lands for any available sources of iron, repurposing old axes, pans, and other metal implements to fashion makeshift weapons. Every scrap of iron was precious, with even the most humble items being melted down and reforged into spearheads, light axes, and other essential tools of war. In the absence of proper swords, the recruits trained with a variety of improvised weapons, honing their skills with iron axes and spears. Wooden shields, reinforced with iron bands salvaged from discarded equipment, offered rudimentary protection against blows. Though the makeshift weapons lacked the refinement and craftsmanship of traditional arms, they served their purpose admirably, equipping the soldiers with the means to defend themselves and their homeland. With determination and resourcefulness, John and his men turned scarcity into strength, forging a fighting force capable of standing against any threat that dared to challenge the North. Inspired by the sight of a sudden rainstorm, Henry, one of John's most experienced soldiers, had a revelation. As the rain poured down, he observed how the recruits instinctively huddled together beneath their shields, seeking refuge from the deluge. Recognizing the potential for defense in this impromptu formation, Henry developed the concept further. Under his guidance, the recruits were trained to form tight-knit shield walls, their shields overlapping to create a protective barrier against incoming attacks. But it was the adaptation of the tortoise formation that truly set them apart. With shields raised above their heads and locked tightly together, the soldiers formed an impenetrable shell, capable of withstanding barrages of arrows and other missile fire. Through rigorous training and repetition, the recruits mastered these formations, their movements synchronized with military precision. Each soldier knew their place within the formation, their actions guided by discipline and coordination. What had begun as a simple response to a rainstorm had evolved into a potent defensive tactic, one that would prove invaluable in the battles to come. With Henry's innovation at their disposal, John's forces were better prepared than ever to face the myriad threats that loomed on the horizon. Whether defending against arrows or charging into the fray, they stood united as a formidable shield against any who would dare to challenge the might of the North. The establishment of new farms brought a wave of opportunity to the people of John's domain. Families eager for a fresh start seized the chance to work the land, tilling the soil and tending to the herds of livestock that grazed upon it. With John's newly acquired herds providing a steady supply of meat and dairy, the farms became bustling centers of activity, teeming with life and vitality. As the crops flourished and the herds multiplied, a wealth of new produce became available for trade. Eggs and milk flowed from the farms, finding eager buyers among the local populace. The surplus allowed for the establishment of markets where these goods could be bought and sold, fostering a sense of community and camaraderie among those who frequented them. But it wasn't just food that thrived in John's domain. With the arrival of new herds came the opportunity to produce other essential goods. Women skilled in the art of textile production found employment spinning wool and crafting leather into garments and goods of all kinds. From warm woolen cloaks to sturdy leather boots, these products found a ready market both within John's lands and beyond. With each passing day, John's domain grew richer and more prosperous, fueled by the hard work and ingenuity of its people. The land that had once known hardship and struggle now bloomed with abundance, offering hope and opportunity to all who called it home. To ensure the continued prosperity and security of his domain, John instituted a tax on all farm owners and farming lands, requiring them to contribute 30% of their produce or its equivalent value in monetary form to house greystock. To facilitate the collection of these taxes,